Colby Covington claims Jorge Masvidal does not want to fight me. So he said they pretty much told me that he plain and simple told them he doesn't like the style matchup. You're in the UFC fighting the best fighters in the world. You claim to want to be the best in the world, and you don't like the style matchup. What is this? The real divas of Atlanta? What are we doing? I thought we were in the UFC, not the Ultimate Feelings Championship. And that was courtesy of MMA Mania. So, Colby Covington, I mean, we had our own podcast on this topic about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And we thought it was all but confirmed. But Colby Covington...
No, what are you talking about?
Well, no, listen, not all but confirmed, but I'm just saying that with Colby Covington, you know, we were looking at the matchups, and Jorge looked like the most obvious one. I mean, we went through all of them, to be honest. We talked about the Woodley fight.
First, I recommend you go back and watch that video as well. In case anybody missed it, you go back and watch it with them. But you are a little confused, and it looks like Colby's a little confused. Real Divas of Atlanta? Isn't Jorge from Florida? Atlanta isn't... Is MMA Mania from Atlanta? I don't know.
Fake news.
An Ultimate Feelings Championship. I don't know if somebody directly said or asked Jorge, what do you think about the matchup? And he said, I don't like that style. I think he's just assuming, and the reason why it's not being booked is because of the matchup. I don't think he has an actual code, or anybody would tell him like, Jorge doesn't like that matchup. If you remember, right, try to remember our conversation. I talked about Jorge and Colby. Maybe I did say that this is a likely matchup, but I'm going back on my word, okay? I also remember saying that Colby just beats Jorge, right? He just simply beats him, not because of his striking or anything like that, but it's the overall game. So that includes his cardio, but also his takedowns. Yeah. If you see old footage of Jorge and Colby, especially in the wrestling department, you can tell like Colby gets the better of him at almost every instance. Like Jorge might be like a defensive wrestler where he'll stop your takedowns and stuff like that, but as we've seen in other fights that he's had, he's not necessarily like top elite level wrestler. Like he's very, very good overall, and he's very well rounded. But if Colby decides, hey, I want to Khabib smash this guy, I want to do Father's Plan, he can literally strike, take him down, beat him up, and then once they're a little bit tired, or once Jorge's a little bit tired, finish him off on the feet. Similar to what Colby does in his other fights. Actually, Colby with other fights that he had previously, he would stay on the feet though. For a lot of it, he would use his wrestling as like a deter to go to the ground for his opponents.
So I know you always say to not do MMA math, but let's say we do Jorge versus Woodley. How would that fight have turned out if it was done
Jorge versus Woodley?
Yeah.
Well, Jorge versus Woodley. What Woodley are we talking about? Are we talking about?
We're talking about the Woodley that faced Covington.
I'm so in love. I'm in love with you. I'm in love. Are we talking about that Woodley? Or are we talking about Josh Koscheck and Wonder Boy 1-2 Woodley?
No, we're talking about the Covington versus Woodley. Talking about that Woodley.
That's different. See, I stop with this MMA math.
I know
you're not the best with.
I know, but you have to do it because he just came off that matchup. So
you don't. You can use that as a gauge to see like how well Tyrone is doing in his recent fights, and see like what is his motivation and what is his athletic like skills still, like how are they holding up and all that kind of stuff. But to say like, oh, he beat him, so automatically Jorge beats Woodley, I don't think that makes sense at all. And we've seen it, like it gets disproven every single UFC event. Every time there's a fight that you do MMA math with, it just doesn't work out. Right? It doesn't work. It's
prime example.
It's
Tony
way.
Ferguson versus Gaethje. All that math for no reason, and then Tony Ferguson gets destroyed. Good times.
Why you gotta leave Tony alone, man?
He pops up in every conversation. Honestly, listen, I think Jorge Masvidal, he's not being booked for this fight because, first of all, there's two reasons. The first reason is I think it is a really weird matchup for him because the styles, I don't think Colby's a good style for him. But the second reason is also that with Jorge, you want to make as much money as possible, right? And I feel like there's much bigger names than Colby Covington.
So Colby Covington is a name where he can make money, but there are other matchups where he could potentially make bigger money. Say Nate Diaz, he can make a lot more money off that fight.
Maybe in other words.
maybe that fight, maybe a Conor fight. Maybe he has like a fight against maybe like a Donald Cerrone or somebody like that, Nick Diaz, right? There's a lot of stuff on the table. I don't think it makes sense for him to face Colby Covington yet, especially if he wants to continue fighting. If he wants to keep up the momentum and go up even further in terms of being like a superstar, I don't think Colby is the next stop.
I think a good matchup would be Islam Makhachev, but you never know.
Why do you keep Islam Makhachev is 155?
I know, but he can always move up, man. No problem.
Why would he move up? He's been like 6 years.
Well, he's gonna move up for Brock Lesnar anyway, so you might as well just fight Jorge first. Colby Covington says Conor McGregor again finishes washed up Dustin Poirier in the first round. My best fake friend Dustin Poirier, Covington told Submission Radio. All I can say.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
Poirier? What, he's sore?
I don't know.
Is he sorry?
He's sorry. I think he's sorry. All I can say.
No, I think sorry. Okay.
Yeah. All I can say, guys, is you guys make sure you get the Kleenex ready at the press conference. Because Dustin Poirier is gonna break down on the mic. He's gonna cry to the world, get everybody to feel sympathy and feel bad for him. He is gonna get sparked again in the first round because he's completely washed up and has no chin anymore. This is.
Do you want to reread that?
Because this was confirmed by MMAJunkie.usatoday.com.
Okay, so the last sentence, it was because he's completely washed up and has no chin anymore and no heart.
Man, Colby Covington is crazy. This guy, he has these weird periods of time where he'll say nothing for a month, and then he'll come back and then he'll just go after every single person on the roster.
Absolute fire. Absolute smoke for everybody.
Yeah, but what did Poirier do? He's just
because he's from the same gym.
I know, but he's this good guy. Helping around with charities. Fighting all the top guys, and now his new name is Poirier.
They had beef. They had beef because they basically kicked him out. They kicked out Colby from AT&T? No, AT&T. ATT.
This is not a phone company, man.
So they kicked him out basically out of ATT, where Dustin and Jorge were the two cornerstones of that gym. So I see that they have some beef, and he's resurfacing it. It was an interview from the same interview from the last topic.
From Submission Radio, yeah, same thing.
Yeah, so they probably asked him, what do you think about the matchup, who's going to win? And he just went on and was like, you know what, I'm going to take this time.
This is right.
I'm going to take this time to go after every single person that's wronged me. And,
my best fake friend.
My face.
Oh, man. Actually, if you want to know more about Conor versus Poirier, we just posted a video, so make sure you watch that video of our analysis. That's a really good video. But
so that one is of me. It's just me talking, so you don't have to hear this guy.
So his name is Hamid. My name is Ahad,
through every quote.
Right. So for the analysis videos, you're gonna hear Hamid and not Ahad. But
okay. Maybe we'll mix it up. But in that video, we talk about a matchup and between Conor and Dustin and how it goes in 2021 when the matchup is at, I forget what it's, UFC 2 something. But
27.
Just in short, we think, or I think it's a little bit. I agree with Colby. I won't call Dustin washed. I won't say his name is Poirier. I won't say all that. I'm not that kind of guy. But I don't want that smoke. But I think Conor does beat Dustin Poirier
in the first round.
The first round, maybe the second. Dustin just has taken so many shots as of recent, and his new style compared to what it was in 145 is a lot more in the pocket, a lot more trying to counter, but he takes a lot of shots when he goes in. So if you look at a lot of the recent fights, the significant strikes are basically the same, especially for like a decision win.
Yeah.
He basically eats as much as he gives out, which is
when
not good when you face Conor.
When I was fixing up that video for you, and then I was looking at some of the stats. I mean, like one of the stats against, I think it was Gaethje, he absorbed 184 significant strikes. That's ridiculous. Significant strikes too, right? So he's gone through wars.
I don't know if it was 184, but it was a lot. It was a lot.
It was around that number.
So if you guys check out that video, we go more depth about the situation and what we think. But Colby, you need to relax. Like, calm down. Like, I get it. You don't have to add these adjectives and these pronouns, bro. You need to just relax.
And just side note, that video is very high quality, so make sure you watch it.
Who made it? It
was made by me.
Oh, okay. No wonder.
Anthony Pettis parts ways with the UFC and will test free agency. And
he actually signed. He actually signed with PFL.
Yeah, so let's go on with what he said, though. So, almost 12 years with this company and so many amazing memories. From winning my first world title at 23 years old to becoming the champion at 26 in my hometown. I am forever grateful for everything that I've experienced and accomplished with this company. And he wrote that to UFC President Dana White, once again reported by MMA Junkie. And it's funny.
Right, do you not know any other website?
No, we do not. But, it's pretty funny, though, because we just posted a video of Tony versus Pettis and why it could happen. I mean, it might not happen in the UFC anymore, but it's sad.
Yeah.
He was a good fighter.
I kind of dropped the ball on that topic in terms of like searching and seeing how many fights Anthony Pettis has. I didn't even know he's going onto the I didn't know that was his last fight in the UFC in terms of like on his contract.
Yeah.
So he decided to part ways, and he's already signed up. So I'm sure that he already had conversations before he had his last fight about potentially going somewhere else. And PFL has fighters like Fabricio Verdum. There's other notable names as well that are in there. But it's the next chapter in his life. He's not the same fighter that he was when he was 23 years old
as well.
Yeah, he's not the same fighter that he was at 23. I'm not just talking about like skill wise, but just the way that he fought when he's 23 and when he fights now is completely different. I don't think
his most recent fight.
It was I forget. You don't know his name. It was like it wasn't a big matchup like he typically has, but I don't think Pettis has much of a future in the UFC lightweight division, other than being maybe a gatekeeper. They would use him as
a 3-fight win streak though.
They would use his name as like a stepping stone for a lot of people. I don't think they had any they had any plans for him to become a champion again. After his win when he was 23, I didn't even know he was 23 back then. That's pretty surprising. When he started so he says from winning my first title at 23 years old to becoming the UFC world champion at 26.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. He was 26 when he won the UFC championship. He won a different title, a different organization when he was 23. Okay, I misread that. But I remember Anthony Pettis before he was in the UFC, when he was on this show called World of Janks, where there was this guy. His name was Janks, I guess. I don't know. But he was following like a life of an MMA fighter, and that fighter was Anthony Pettis. And his brother Sergio Pettis was in there as well. And it was this documentation of Anthony Pettis' life and what he does in order to prepare for fights and his journey on becoming a UFC fighter or like a fighter in another like larger organization. And then soon after that, then he skyrocketed. He was in WC, and then he went to the UFC and then won this title and all that. He had a great career. I wish he was able to like defend his title a little bit longer. He got dominated by Rafael dos Anjos and lost his title, and then he went on and he lost to Eddie Alvarez, and then he lost to Edson Barboza, and then he beat Charles Oliveira. But he had this up and down career. He would win one, he would lose one. He would win one, he would lose one. He
also many injuries too, right?
Yeah, he had a lot of injuries as well. He got much thicker. He went to 170 for some reason. Knocked out Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and then went back down to 155. So I look forward to seeing him in the other leagues.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was a good
personally, my favorite fight of his was the fight against Tony Ferguson. But that was
the only, was it 2 rounds? Only
2 rounds with
worth?
2 rounds of action, man. How about you though?
Yeah.
What's your favorite fight?
We wish that came. I have a bad taste in my mouth for Anthony Pettis. Not really. It's not really his fault. I'm still a big Benson Henderson fan, and Benson Henderson was this guy who won the championship at lightweight and beat Frankie Edgar twice. And it was his time. It was his time to be like this dominating champion. The one thing that held him back was that super kick. The what was it called? Superman kick. What were they called? Off the cage?
Off the cage?
Yeah.
God knows. I have no idea.
I forget what it's called. Superman kick. We'll just call it Superman kick.
Sure, why not?
So he had that Superman kick years before, and all of a sudden Anthony Pettis has this resurgence, or has this huge career incline, and Benson, it was his chance. It was his opportunity to go and beat and avenge his loss to Anthony Pettis, because Anthony Pettis at that time beat him for his WEC championship.
Yeah.
Right. So this was time for Benson to go to the moon. It was to avenge. This is like a beautiful story, but then he lost. He got armbarred and lost his championship, and then his career from there when it went down. But we still love Benson Henderson. We still love Anthony Pettis. It's just I just didn't like that he armbarred one of my.
Hopefully
favorite
he does well in the PFL.